Good morning to one and all. At the outset, I would like to pay my humble homage to a complete man, Sant Gadge Baba. I would like to congratulate the honorable management of this institute, honorable principal of the college, and the advisory committee for taking efforts for the researchers during this pandemic. In this session, I welcome you all. I will talk on research and screenings during the PhD program of our university. In this session, I will talk on research and entrance during the PhD program of our university. Going to next slide. The content of the talk is highlighted here. I will talk on what is the research, why one should go for research, process of research step by step. There is a scientific mechanism and that will be enlightened in this point, and characteristic and outcome of the research. And then we will explain, I will explain the 7 steps: screening, entrance for awarding the PhD degree in our university. Going to next slide. My friends, for research, a eminent scientist, Albert Einstein quotation inspires, motivate everyone. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination embraces the entire world. Imagination is more important. If we remember the inventions by a eminent scientist, for example, the imagination of gravity by Newton opens the door for all the world to develop the gravitation theories which are useful for space studies and the human beings. The imagination may leads to a fruitful result or may be wrong. If we take example of a ether for the propagation of light, that after scientific investigations comes out to be wrong concept, but that imagination confirms the propagation of light needs no medium, and hence imagination is more important for the researcher. Next slide. We are in information age, and the big source is Google. If we observe what is research, after so many research results that defines as the systematic investigation into and study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. Also, research components are investigations, experimentation, testing, exploration, analysis. These are the main aspects for research. For the next slide. What is research is explained by the eminent scientists, academicians in various ways. I explain it as research is creative and systematic work undertaken to increase the stock of knowledge, including knowledge of humans, culture, and society, and the use of this stock of knowledge to devise new applications. The simple meaning of research is the word research is derived from Middle French. That is a simple meaning to go about seeking. Research is search for knowledge, aims to finding out truth. It provides us a scientific investigation. It gives a critical examination, and it provides us a systematic findings. Why one should go for research? Some of the aspects are highlighted here. Research allows you to pursue your interest, contribute to developing knowledge. It opens new doors and find new solutions to existing problems. My friends, we must focus on the last point. When we have any problem, we usually think of a solution or get confused. Several questions arise in our mind, like what do you think will the next big thing, or what to do to overcome this problem? And this one is the today's situation all over the globe. And to overcome this challenge, here comes the role of research. Next slide. For the research, there is a mechanism. For any problem, there are the scientific stages to carry out the research. The first one is to identify the problem by the researcher. For that problem, he has to review the related literature. Those investigations carried out by the researcher, the mistakes or the lacunas he has to point out from that research, and the basic knowledge for that area he has to study from reviewing the literature. Then he has to set the research questions, objectives, and he has to prepare his hypothesis accordingly. As he has investigated, he has reviewed the literature and pointed out some queries. Accordingly, he has to set his hypothesis, and choosing the study design, the sample design, and collecting the related data for that hypothesis, he has to proceed for his problem and analyze the data and investigate the problem and get the results. And he has to write his predictions, conclusion, investigations. What may be the investigations of the problem? That may be the fruitful one, or that may be not fruitful, or the resemblance with the real things, but must be quoted there. And this completes the investigation of the research problem. But this is a cyclic process. Once one has completed his research problem, and that is the one of the aspect to study the other researchers. Other researcher will study this problem and find the open problems from this investigated problem. And the chain is a cyclic one, and the research will continue on the same area and on the related topics. We must explain the characteristic of research. Characteristic of research, to qualify as research, the process must have certain characteristics. Be systematic, controlled, rigorous, valid and verifiable, empirical and critical. Accordingly, I have highlighted some characteristics here. Research starts with questions. Research is a systematic. Research is planned, orderly and proceed in a careful step-by-step process. Research is replicable. Research is reflexive and self-critical. Here, what may be our investigations, what may be our results, we must note all the results that may be wrong or that may be resemble as fruitful one. But rather than the hidden, we must code all our investigations in the results. That means our research, our investigation should be reflexive one. Research is cumulative. Research is cyclical, as we have discussed in the previous slide. These are some of the characteristics of research. Consequences of research, there are many consequences. Mainly, there are two consequences can be distinguished as academic one and societal one. Academic consequence gives the new way of thinking about and understanding our world. And for societal consequences, that consequence research leads to the betterment of human being life. We can think about the outcome of the research, and there are many outcomes of the research. Some of them are highlighted here. Understand what a research paradigm, analyze and synthesize research findings, advance education theory and practices. That outcome leads to develop critical thinking skills, scientific attitude, and other skills also. Here, I would like to conclude this research concept by quoting Marvin's Jordan quote, "No research is ever quite complete." My friends, what are the investigations we have done? That is one of the addition to the research area of that subject, and that is a good for continuous research. That research may give the new direction for the new researchers and may be helpful for the humanity purpose. Now, I will share the second point, the 7 steps in awarding PhD degree. The researchers may think these are the entrance and we have to give the test and we have to qualify them. But for the PhD, these are the screening tests for which lot of academicians involved to support you on the various stages of your research. These 7 steps are designed in a way that all the academic fraternity will get involved to verify the research at various stages, not to criticize you, but to support and develop a quality research. In this 7 step may be called as a screening test at various stages. I will explain one by one. Stage 1, online MPET exam. MPET is that is the same exam for MPhil program and PhD program in our university. Conduction of the program is online, and students have to apply on the university portal and provides online admission card for the paid examination entrance. The examination comprises of one paper with 2 sections, section A and section B. Section A is on general aptitude, having 50 multiple choice objective questions with 100 marks. And the course of section A is highlighted here. For the section B, based on the subject in the relevant faculty, and the questions and the marking as in section A, and the course for this section is the related PG work for the subject. Evaluation and passing criteria. For this paid examination, university allows 90 minutes. That means you have to use 45 minutes for section A and 45 minutes for section B. Here, for the passing, it is mandatory to score 50% marks in each section separately. The 5% relaxation for passing is for the category highlighted here. Once you have allotted for the examination and you have appeared for the examination, no revaluation permitted for this test. The validity of this test is for 5 years from the date of declaration of the result. Sugaring pass at the entrance test does not entitle, it is to be noted by the researchers. Passing of test means not admitted for PhD registration course. He has to go further for the other screening test. Together with that PET entrance certificate, qualifying certificate, he must have this academic highlighted here, 55% mark and relaxation for other category. Now the test is maybe exempted or bypass. Those have qualified the test given here, JRF, SLATE, GATE, MPhil and teacher fellow. They can bypass the MPET and directly go for the next screening test, and that is admission to the PhD Coursework program. After clearing the MPET test, students have to decide the research center within the university region, and he has to apply for the interview at research center. There is a research advisory committee, RAC, having this type of academicians involved, and this RAC committee plays an important role from admission to the coursework to up to the award of the degree, and one may take it as a very supportive counseling and advisory for the researchers committee at each research center. After collecting the applications by the research center, um, they will schedule the interview dates, and they will call the researchers to appear for the interview. RAC committee, the role of RAC committee is for discussing proposed research interest, area of doctorate degree, and if RAC committee approves his area of interest and the relevant depth of the subject, they allows the student with the related area supervisor, and the list of the candidates will be displayed for the admission to that research center. The selected candidate shall confirm the admissions to that research center for PhD coursework as per prescribed fee from the university. My friends, here your research starts now. Once you are going to join the coursework, you have to work for each and every aspect of the research, and that is the purpose of this criteria coursework is to cover and all the aspects related to the research. This coursework is of 16 weeks. PhD coursework syllabi, common for all, there are 5 modules, and the examination and their evaluation and qualifying chart is given here. For each module, the candidate have to secure 60% marks for passing. Here, one point should be noted by the researchers, those are appearing for the coursework, the module 1 research methodology. The conduct of examination and evaluation shall be done by the university in accordance with existing ordinance. For module 2 to 5, the evaluation shall be done by the respective research centers, and the other guidelines are highlighted there. My friends, for the research, we have to learn, we have to create, and we have to think. Then we can generate a new knowledge. And hence, we have to switch over at stage 4. Admission, submission of synopsis, and interview. After qualifying this screening of coursework examination, you can proceed for the next stage and at your research center. You have to prepare the synopsis in which you are interested and in which area you have to work for your PhD thesis. Of course, for the support there is a guide, and you have to prepare synopsis on proposed research work for PhD, and you have to present before RAC for approval. Research work for its relevance and depth of the RAC scholar will be validated by the RAC committee, and if they found that is relevant, they can approve the candidate to submit the synopsis to that center. The committee has a right to disapprove the synopsis also. The committee may consider with some suggestions to prepare the synopsis accordingly and again present before the RAC so that the student can go on a right path for further research. After submission of synopsis and approved by the RAC, that research center will call for the applications for the registration of PhD along with the synopsis and the required documents prescribed by the university, and the research center will recommend the research student to the university for next screening, that is RRC. Research Recognition Committee is the body which accept the approval for the research work and confirms his synopsis and the direction of the thesis. RRC will call the interview by the university, will display the program for the various subjects, and the candidate have to present their synopsis. The RRC will test his knowledge about the area in which he is interested, and accordingly RRC will take the decision whether the student get accepted, approval is accepted or rejected, or may give the revision. The duration, my friends, one and all should focus on the first duration, A point. The duration of PhD program, including coursework, shall be minimum 3 years to maximum 6 years from the date of admission. That means once you have overcome the coursework examination, you should start your research as per the suggestion by the guide. You must start, otherwise you will be delayed. If some student not get completed in a 6 years, he may get 1 year's extension. In some cases, as highlighted in B, there may be the relaxation or of extension period. One must focus on D also. A research scholar shall appear before the research advisory committee once in a 6 month to make a presentation of the progress. Once the student joins the research, he has to be rigorous and he has to work continuously, because he has to present the 6 month his progress report before the committee at his research center, and also he has to submit yearly progress report of his research in the prescribed pro forma laid down by the university. As you are admitted for research and you have to create something new, and hence we have to switch over. Now we switch over on stage 6. After completion of the research, during this research, every research scholar should remember the research publications. This is needless to say that they have to take care of the plagiarism. Research and ethics in the while publication, and he has to present his paper in some conferences. And after that, if the guide and the student feels, guide suggests that the research work is now completed for PhD, the student will prepare the draft thesis, and he cannot submit the draft thesis before 2 years from the date of his registration. After 2 years, he can go for RAC for the presentation of his draft of the thesis along with plagiarism certificate and the published manuscript research paper. And after the presentation, that academic gathering will suggest some positive things or have some point out some lacunas, and that suggesting all the draft of the thesis may be updated and the committee will approve. Without approval of the RAC committee, the thesis cannot be submitted to the university. And here is again draft of the thesis is verified by all the academicians and suggest all the things scientifically, whether it is written, some things are with some points are lagging, that may be added by the student with the guidance of his supervisor, and his contribution to this research academic area in the form of thesis, he can go for submission to the university after the pre-defense. My friends, I would like to quote here, after your contribution to the academic field, if we knew what it was we were doing, it would not be called research, would it? Is said by Einstein, and you must have the satisfaction what you have investigated thoroughly, rigorously, and dedicatedly, that are useful for the new researchers. After submission of the thesis, we have to switch over on the last screening test, 7th stage, submission of, after submission of the thesis to the university, the open defense. Here, the university guidelines are highlighted, how the thesis to be prepared are given here, and accordingly he has to prepare and submit. With the approval of RAC, he has to submit in the university, and after examination by the referees, he has to present his thesis at the decided date or the given date by the research center. For the open defense, again, the committee of academicians is there as per decided by the university. They all are there. Again, for the open defense, the researchers working in your related area will be there. The students may attend this open defense, and this is open defense means a healthy academic discussion, so that what you have done and why you have done, what are the constraints in your problem, and what are the fruitful results you have achieved, that have to discuss. And the queries from the audience, from the referee, examiner, you have to satisfy the same. And this healthy discussion provides a new thinking to the new researchers, and may be suggestive for the researchers what he has completed and what are the hidden things again in his work. He can continue the same problems for the academic purpose, and he can contribute his research findings in the related area, and that may be the useful for the academic purpose or societal purpose. And after fruitful discussion, queries, and the referee's report, approved report, the accepted report of the thesis, I have a report, the PhD degree will be awarded to the student. And in this 7 screening test, my friends, these are the 7 screening tests. At every stage, there is academicians which are involved in your research to modify, to work on a right path, and they play a suggestive role for your completion of the PhD and the fruitful results, which may be useful for the academic purpose or the societal purpose. And hence, some useful books are highlighted here. Some online resources are also given. One can go through for finding the research aspects and the details about the investigations. My friends, till now I explained the concept of research and the related aspects on research, and highlighted on the 7 screenings of PhD program. After completion of the work or the research, all these previous components I have explained, you may relate with this last slide. As quoted here, before we take to sea, we walk on land. Before we create, we must understand. Is by one of the international author quoted, which abstractly explains the purpose of the research. Also, if you observe the background image, you could relate this with your research experience, in which researcher and guide researcher and guide sails through the ocean of unknown with beautiful possibilities. I thanks one and all for patience listening. I thanks the organizer for inviting me. I think that this is a fruitful one for the researcher as well as for the researchers for PhD program. This video will definitely help you for your many queries. Again, I thanks one and all.